Hello from Seattle. How are you guys doing today? I'm Cher Martinetti. I'm the managing editor of SYFY WIRE Fangirls. Cheer louder. And for everybody that's watching on the live stream, well, this is SYFY WIRE's live stage from Emerald City Comic Con, and we're basically your one-stop destination for everything you want related to sci-fi, fantasy, and horror. And we have this wonderful lady sitting next to me right here, whom maybe some of you have heard of. We have the one and only Kelly Sue DeConnick. I cannot talk right now.
It's all good.
Like, full disclosure, I had a chocolate-covered almond, and like the almond part is still, yeah. But you guys don't need to know that. How are you doing?
I'm doing all right.
You look fabulous.
Thank you, thank you. Somebody stopped me on the way over here, and I had a moment where I was like, oh, they recognized me. I don't know if you know about my appearance on the silver screen. Yeah, and then he told me I looked like some detective from TV.
So he thought you were cosplaying as like a detective?
Yeah, he thought I was cosplaying. And I was like, no capes. So
that's amazing.
Yeah, right? Took you a second.
That's actually my favorite thing I've ever heard. Someone stopped you because they thought you were cosplaying as like another character.
The funny thing is that like my personal style is such that has happened on more than one occasion. So I've had people stop and ask me to take a picture, and I assumed that it was because I'm a writer of some renown. The guy was like, I'm a greaser, and I'm like, okay. But apparently he thought I was a greaser too. So
what is like the weirdest thing that anyone's ever thought you were maybe cosplaying as, but you're just like, no, this is just what I wear?
Oh, I was wearing a hat, and they asked me what I was dressed up as, and I was like, a lady wearing a hat? Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah.
So let's talk about Aquaman.
Let's talk about Aquaman.
I'm sure that you've been talking about something else a lot lately, so we're not going to talk about that right now. We're talking about Aquaman.
Let's talk about Aquaman.
So I know you've compared, and I know you've told me this too, that you've compared Aquaman to like Led Zeppelin.
Right, yeah. So I don't have a visual imagination, which is a really difficult thing for people who do have visual imaginations to understand, right? Because most people very easily and very naturally think in pictures. I don't. I think in sound and rhythm. So it makes me an odd choice for comics, but I like to think it makes me a great collaborator, because when the art comes in, it's never like, well, that's not how I pictured it, because I didn't picture it. And it's not like I can't see pictures, so if you tell me, like, imagine a pink elephant, I can imagine a pink elephant. But that's not my natural thinking style. I don't have pictures in my head all the time. And it's fascinating because people will argue with me that, like, yes, you do. Like, really?
You don't know your own brain.
Yeah. But yeah, so I tend to, I think a lot about rhythm. I think a lot about the rhythm of dialogue, and for tone of different books, I think a lot about music. And for me, what I wanted for Aquaman was something that was like big, epic, mythical, sexy, right? Like elemental.
Yeah.
And so what's bigger and epicer and more elementaler than...
Elementaler is totally a word, by the way.
It is now. Than Led Zeppelin.
So do you have a specific Led Zeppelin song that you would like assign to Arthur?
No, I don't. I don't actually. I don't even know that I have an album. Although we've sent back and forth a lot of Zeppelin album covers, and a lot of Zeppelin gifts. Robeson and I will exchange Zeppelin gifts, and Dio. But yeah, no, there's not a.
Not like a specific.
No, I mean it's kind of the
general
whole
Led Zeppelin-ness of it.
Yes, yes.
Got you. I was reading that you were talking about how you've kind of made him be less of a, quite frankly, less of a joke. Because I feel like for a very long time, people kind of laughed at Aquaman. Like, oh, he talks to fishes.
Yeah.
And most people, especially of a certain age, probably their only real knowledge of Aquaman came from like the Saturday morning cartoons from Super Friends, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of goofy. Or Entourage, but like we're not going to talk about that.
Right. Well, so here's the thing. I think a lot of people have tried to play down the talks to fishes thing, right? Because like it comes up defensively in a lot of runs, right? Mm-hmm. And I actually think that's a mistake. And the reason I think it's a mistake is because I think it's the power that he has that is incredibly unique to him. And like I don't want to be. This is this awkward thing, right? Because people who have come before me on this book have done incredible work, and work that has made it possible for me to be working on the book now. Right. So I don't want to be critical of them, but I can disagree with some of the choices that were made. And so one of the ways of dealing with what I call the call, that's how I refer to the power, but it's his telepathic ability. One of the ways of dealing with the call has been to make it so that, well, like, he doesn't converse with fishes because, they barely have brains, and he just can control them. But here's the thing, I don't think taking over the will of another living creature is a heroic ability. I think that.
Wait, why? So why is that?
Because that's gross. It's fascist. That's Purple Man. That's things that villains do. Yeah. That's not a thing that heroes do. Heroes, you follow a hero because you want to. Right. You follow a hero because you respect them. You don't follow a hero because they mind controlled you to do so. Right? That's not a heroic power. And so my thought about the call is that it's fascinating that this hyper masculine character, and I don't want to apologize for his like traditional masculinity. I want to steer right into it. It's beautiful, like literally, it's beautiful.
Which Jason Momoa has proved to everybody.
Yes, beautiful. But no, it's like this hyper masculine character. His defining superpower is the ability to ask for help. Right? Like, let that wash over you for a second. That's crazy.
That's not how, I would never have thought about it like that. Clearly no one else would have either.
I'm a writer.
Oh my God. You should stick with it.
Yeah.
I see big things in your future.
But yeah, no, I mean, I think that's an interesting thing, and I think that's a really interesting thing to play with. And when does he use it, and how does he use it, and I wanted to also move him away from, like, one of the incredibly important things. So, like, the central characteristics of Arthur Curry, right, are his origin, half Atlantean, half human, his a king of Atlantis, and member of the Justice League, right? Those are the three major points. But I wanted to move a little bit away from King of Atlantis because honestly, to me, that feels small. Like, Atlantis is one of the 7 kingdoms, and I wanted it to be more elemental. Rather than being the king of Atlantis, I want him to be the champion of the ocean.
Ooh, I like that.
Yeah, it feels bigger to me. It feels bigger and more mythic and more resonant. And definitely more Zeppelin, yeah.
All right, so I have one last question really quick. So I know back in the day, not to age myself, Hanna-Barbera would do a lot of like crossovers on like Super Friends and stuff like that.
Yes.
And you'd see like TV, like sitcom people as characters. So if you could see any crossover with Aquaman and like any other thing out in the universe.
Kiss.
I knew you were gonna say. Why did I even act like you were gonna say something else?
Yeah. Well, I don't know why. I have no idea what that would look like, but I
But you just know that.
Yes, but I will totally make that happen. Yeah.
I mean, I think that this is officially a pitch right here to DC.
Yeah.
Crossover Aquaman with Kiss. Right. Yeah, make Arthur lead the Kiss Army.
Yes. Do you know I was a member of the Kiss Army?
I'm not surprised.
I was, thank you. I worked really hard.
You guys have seen you saw their Christmas card.
I never got discharge papers. So I might be called up at any moment now.
And like to do what though?
I don't know, maybe to play bass and spit blood.
Well, okay then.
That'd be cool.
That, thank you so much to Kelly Sue DeConnick, who is always the most fun to talk to. And thank you for everyone who came out to listen. Thank you to everyone at home. You can keep following all the great stuff from the con on syfy.com/cons. You can follow our hashtags, hashtag ECCC. Right, that's all this is, or hashtag It's a Fan Thing. And coming up next, we have James Arnold Taylor and Vanessa Marshall to talk Star Wars Rebels.